How are you?
I managed to catch the beginning of this, so
I
pretty
know.
good, I guess. I've been meandering my way through Inktober.
And Brent is here. And apparently
Hi,
we can
brother.
change the font. What does that mean? Bangers. This font is very bangers.
What's going on?
All I'm really doing is changing this right here.
Oh,
That's it. We don't use fonts very much in our show, so it's not changing enough to
to be noticeable.
be noticeable. So I'm just having fun. Oh, hey, that's kind of cool. We have the ability to. Oh, hey, that looks more like us.
There you go.
It's the font show. We can align it left and we can align it right, which did nothing, literally nothing. So they were all big on you have new things you can do, and that's it.
The goggles, they do nothing.
I know. I'm like, okay, you do you. It's the font show. As Brent is saying, it's the font show. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm just sitting here going, well, then that happened. I am trying to figure out. I can retake a quiz, but I'm trying to figure out. Did he give us the? I thought he gave us the answers for the quizzes. Oh, he did. So I can retake the quiz and redo that. He sent me a message that was like the intention was for you to retake this quiz before class tomorrow. Okay. Like he sends me this specific message and oh, okay.
He knows you too well, guy.
Right.
So yeah, I've been enjoying Inktober this year.
Yeah, it sounds like you have, which is cool.
Well, my spooky season art challenge, as I've been calling it, because we can't have nice things anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know.
It all has to be a, some hustle or grift in some ways for someone else to make money.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Hey, the snooter.
Hey, the snooter. I'm gonna actually. I'm just redoing this real quick.
I'm grousing about Inktober.
Managing the private sector ethnography project emphasizes the need for ethnographers, applied anthropologists These are not in the same order. That's annoying.
So Jay Parker, the creator of Inktober,
Mm-hmm.
uh, went uh, decided that he was going to copyright it and then start suing all the artists that were
Involved in it.
participating in it
Yeah. Which is aggravating.
and trying to uh, take their legitimate work for himself to sell. So a lot of artists gave him the finger.
I mean, right?
And rightfully so. I mean, it's
Yeah. I mean,
a justified middle finger, but it's a middle finger no less. He didn't just copyright the logo, he copyrighted everything.
mm-hmm. The methodology, the everything underneath it, and then established a thing which said that he had the right to everybody who ever did Inktober's artwork if he ever wanted to make a book.
It looks like it just needs more time to soak. Okay, well, let's do some art.
Uh-huh.
So, what'd you think of the thing I sent you?
I didn't see much of it. I'm going to be honest, I have been swamped all week. I
Ah,
mean, I am doing a quiz right now. After this, I have 2 readings. And I'll skim the readings and then come up with a couple questions and then throw them on there so I can make that before midnight.
well, you don't necessarily have to do it in ink, Disnooter.
Yeah.
If you prefer doing it digitally, do it digitally.
Yeah, that's the other thing is there seemed to be like a lot of weird rules that were showing up. I seem to remember that happening. Or maybe I don't. No, I don't remember.
I think there was a lot of rules that people were putting in place that weren't actually rules.
Mm-hmm.
I know our art group has always taken it as long as you're drawing, who cares?
Mm-hmm. Because the spirit of Inktober was to have a picture a day. That was the spirit. So if you were, as long as you had rattled out a picture, you know. Wait a
Well,
minute.
draw your ideas. That's the best thing about it. My prompt list, I actually generated, and it generated me some general fall ideas, some Halloween specific ideas, some fun spooky season ideas, and I think can't remember what week 4 was. Let me look at that quick. Uh, so, all right, week 1 was spooky season, which was haunted house, pumpkin patch, spooky forest, skeleton, witch's claws, cauldron, spiderweb, ghost, and vampire. Now we're into autumn ambience, and today was fallen leaves. Tomorrow is scarecrow, cozy fireplace. Um, what is that? Autumn reflection, which I might do something else for. Um, squirrel, apple orchard, harvest moon, foggy morning. Week 3 is Halloween fun with trick or treaters, jack o' lanterns, Halloween party, zombie, mummy, werewolf, black cat,
Zombies.
graveyard, and then going from there. So it kind of just hit everything, all aspects of what October is. And then if I look at something, I'm like, this doesn't work for me, or something about doesn't work, I change it up. Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Um, this is Morning Whiteford. Oh hey. Oh hey, that's annoying. My teacher gave me a reading to read, but it's sideways. That's Whiteford and Bennett. I feel like this is the same dude. Anyway,
It's the same dude.
just the it's Lenora. It's Dr. Boren and Dr. Whiteford. I was just making a joke about. I had another reading earlier that was Bennett and Whiteford, Dr. Bennett and Dr. Whiteford, and I'm like, I think this is the same dude, and it is. It's because this is a chapter about ethics, and Dr. Linda Whiteford is an MD as well as a cultural anthropologist. So I believe so. So yes. Usually, whenever we have medical and stuff like that, it ends up being something with her, which I guess kind of makes some sense. I feel obligated to say, welcome back. I'm Dad. I mean, it works. Part of the original conversation revolved around telling stories, something all anthropologists love to do. I'm in the right job. I'm like, wait a minute.
Actually, that should hug her body on that side.
Just like a dog.
Wait, what?
Just saying.
I
Swear to
said
God.
hug, not hump.
Okay. I was going for hump at that point. But yeah, no. Because internally, I'm 12. Hmm. To wit, Brent is just backing this up. I'm just saying. I already have quotes coming in already. Geez. Part of the original conversation revolved around telling stories, something anthropologists all love to do, about the funny and sometimes awkward situations we found ourselves in professionally and how we resolved them. What became clear in that conversation was that neither of us had any formal training in ethics while we were in graduate school. and that while some academic anthropology graduate programs now provide their students with training, we were both set loose as professionals without any formal training in ethics. We're going through, like, this is the fourth ethics chapter I've gone through since I started, and I've only been here for 2 semesters. So clearly, ethics is definitely a topic we talk about now. We are definitely ethicsing.
The ethics are happening.
Yeah. These are
God, you can see the
you're not
improvements.
you're not
Inktober.
sharing your page, just so you know.
Oh,
So we can't see anything.
I didn't. I'm sorry. Normally, I have it shared by now.
Ethics is a big thing in the world in general, and what I have discovered, Brent, is that there, for the longest time, anthropology was treated kind of like, I don't want to say like genealogy or something like that, but it's similar to that, right? You're just kind of gathering data and information for posterity. And so, go at it, try not to hurt anybody, you're good, you know, sort of thing. And it wasn't until we had some very bad situations whereby the anthropologists meant well and they went into the situation trying to do the right thing, but they got crossways with it, that we decided to form up better ethics groups and rules for the scientists to follow. The two scientists in this particular story are both older, as in they're from their youth in ethics was the 70s. When they were young early anthropologists was in the 70s, and we really firmed up the rules in the 80s and the 90s. So when they went to school, it was still kind of wild west time. And that's kind of what she's saying. And she's like, well, that's an issue that, and especially when you're talking about anthropologists, because they've got other jobs in the world other than going into, I mean, it's not the thing we've been talking about, and this is why this is such a big deal, is it's never what you think it is, right? The problems are never what you think it is. It's easy to walk in and, we would like for you to count all the bodies of all the people we are killing. Okay, you know what? I'm not in. That's an easy one, right? I'm not doing this. Um, the hard one is, we're going to hire you into this company to figure out why our I don't know, group XY, why this group isn't as efficient as it should be. And your job is to figure out why that's not happening. And so you go through and do analysis, and then you turn in the analysis and you find out that your analysis is used to fire a whole bunch of people. Like you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. How'd that happen? That wasn't what I came in here for. So that's part of the problem, is that anthropologists are used for jobs that are above and beyond the average, go to a tribe and sit with this tribe in Nowheresville, Africa, and log their life or whatever. Those are easy ethics. You know, you don't go in there and ruin their world. You don't go in there and make fun of their world. You don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's really pretty straightforward. You go in there, you tell them what you're doing, you tell them what your job is so that they know exactly what's going on. That's pretty easy. The hard part's when you're working with Exxon, you know, and you're figuring out whether they're covering up an oil spill or something. You've been paid for, Exxon paid your financial situation to get in here. So now they want you to cover up an oil spill. And you're like, but ethically, that's wrong. And they're like, that's fine. We just won't pay you. Like, now, wait a minute, you know. So that's what this is all about.
Well, and even far beyond that is now it's coming out that they intentionally suppressed and used scientists to hide that climate change was a thing and was going to be happening. And now they're like, oh, well, the mighty dollar. You're
Well,
screwed anyway, so don't hold us to the fire.
yeah, that's actually one of the things we were talking about was the data was misused. And that's
Yeah,
ethically not good for the scientists because it discredited the scientists in the field, and they didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't their fault, you know.
yeah,
And that was it wasn't their fault. And so it's kind of it's part of the problem, and it's just it's a thing. It's difficult, you know. And that because that is one of the things a lot of the scientists who were involved in that, you know, that's one of those things, man. I just that one's just so oof. Anyway,
yeah.
anthropological practitioners are ideal consultants for many projects because of their holistic culture-centered approach. A practicing anthropologist is an important part of a team consisting, as in the case we will present, of medical personnel, ergonomic and indoor quality specialists, and engineers. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. One of these two that are in this thing was working with the oil embargoes and the worldwide oil crisis in the 70s. So these are not spring chickens. I'm just saying that to quantify the fact that I am getting a lot of ethics training. You don't you don't have to worry about the modern anthropologists. They're getting quite a bit of ethics training.
I will say, in some ways, working traditionally has been very refreshing and reminded me that there are some tools that I really wish I had when I worked traditionally.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I screwed up the size of this person's hand.
Right? Scale. Like the infamous I reach over and hit Control Z on my paper.
Yeah,
The big thing I have learned is, man, I have just become addicted to OneNote. I just copy and paste everything into OneNote.
yeah, OneNote is real. It's actually one of my major note taking programs I love having around.
Yep, me too. I just love the fact that it works on my phone, it works right here, and it works on my laptop, which means that and they all synchronize. In
Yeah,
class, I will use my phone and snap a picture of the board and it will show up on my Surface. And I love that. I'm just like, and it actually is kind of creepy and fun to watch because it's all so science fictiony, you know? You, you
yeah,
you sit there and you go click and then it just goes bink. and shows up on the screen over here, and you're like, yeah.
Did you get the phone bill paid?
No, I'm 20 short, and I'm not selling that thing.
Okay. Molly.
Anyways, I'm back.
Hi, back. I'm Dad.
Yes, you've made that joke a couple of times. No.
Yeah, and I will continue to. It won't stop. The Rice Guide. This is interesting. Identify your own biases. What are your feelings about the case? What are your sources of your intuitions? And what are your limitations to your objectivity? Investigate. Probe the facts as presented. What other information is relevant to the ethics of the case? Are other possible resources available? Has any perspective been neglected? Oh, this is kind of cool. Contemplate, prioritize information, and identify ethical dimensions, and then evaluate, analyze options, and justify recommendations. The Rice Guide. This is for ethics checks. Kind of nifty.
Why don't you go die in a fire, you stupid fly?
Right?
You know what I'm not hearing? We don't have any music going.
That's true. Are you going to beep the beepy thing?
I'm gonna boop it.
You do that.
What the hell is minimal house?
Elephant, rhino.
I was thinking House MD, it's just him randomly shouting. It's not lupus! Yeah.
Right?
Oh dear.
Mm.
I think Inktober has made me even faster.
Yeah.
Put it up.
Oh, nose. Oh, nose. Oh, nose. Oh, as horrible as it is, though, I kind of missed that. It's just a part of our that means such a normal thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
normal. I am boiling down a theory. I'm going to start making buttons called assume no harm. Because of course our ethics in anthropology, because a lot of our stuff is medical, the first thing on there, of course, is the Hippocratic Oath. We have to take the Hippocratic Oath effectively, which is do no harm, right? And that's like number one. But I've been thinking about this, and I was like, it's interesting. I think like a corollary to that is assume no harm, right? Don't assume people are trying to hurt people. Don't go to that assumption. Now, obviously, if someone's hurting somebody, do something about it. But don't walk into the room going, I know you were all trying to screw me over. You know what I mean? Like, so many things are in our society are screwed up because people just assume the worst of people while actively getting into the situation.
And part of that doesn't help that that's the media that gets consumed that we've been handed for decades now is the I'm gonna go into politics because that's where it runs mostly into. The X side is out to fuck you because they don't care whether you live or die.
Right.
It's like, and that was the shock jock and all of that mentality of the 80s to get their listeners to stay.
Yeah. And what it's done is polluted the society. I mean, and this is the thing. Every time and it's so bad that even when I try to defend a side, it's, well, why in the world would you, choose that other side? I didn't. I have my political beliefs. They are very firmly stabilized. I know who I'm voting for, and it's not going to change. But I also am not voting against the other side because they're evil or because they set fire to kittens in the morning or whatever, but because they have a series of political belief systems that I do not agree with. And those are belief systems that they all universally admit to, or rather, I guess admit sounds like admitting fault, but they agree that these are their belief systems, and my political alignment is that that's not the right thing for our country, But it's not because they're going to set fire to the world or anything like that. And there are all these hot button words that people use. Unpatriotic and racist and all those things, which are first thing that makes me think something is not up to par. Somebody's like, well, so-and-so is unpatriotic or so-and-so is racist or whatever. I'm like, well, okay, now I know you're about to spew a whole bunch of propaganda at me before I can figure out what you're trying to say, So, all right. I have to do a check-in where I submit a sentence to this, and it's funny because I have to, all he's doing is just checking to make sure all of the students are actually doing the work. Well, okay, no problem, except that I know I'm doing the work and he knows that I'm doing the work and stuff like that. So this isn't a big deal.
Yeah, but it's the administrators that don't know that you're doing the work.
Right, but like a couple of weeks ago, for whatever reason, I just didn't have the time. So I didn't do the work, so I just kind of BS'd my way through the questions, and he gave me a 100 on it anyway. And I'm like, this is the difference, right? Because if you do it right almost all the time, that one time you screw it up, they're just like, yeah, whatever, and just roll you through. I'm only chuckling because this is literally the first time in my entire life that this has ever been a thing. That I've ever been that student in the class. You know what I mean? Usually I'm the student where they're like, please send 3 verifying proofs that you actually did your homework, including somebody who actually filmed you doing it, or whatever. Because I'm usually crashing so badly in the class that they just don't believe that I'm doing the right thing. Now, of course, I'm on medication, and that changes everything. Except now, where every time I fall asleep, have a bummer. Next week is food, farming, and nutrition. We move out of Essex. Spent 2 weeks on Essex, and now we're going to move on to farming. This is for my applied anthropology class, so the idea is that they're looking for, this is all about what do you do with your anthropology degree now that you've got it. Some of you guys will actually be going out into the field and being anthropologists. But some of you guys may not find that interesting. So if so, what are you going to do with that degree? Whereas I'm sitting there going, yeah, I intend to go out in the field and be an anthropologist. That's my battle plan. So I think it's funny that Brent is like, mentally guy is 12. Yeah, it's mentally guy is 12. However, I have to say, my buddies at school just adopted me in, and they assume that I'm just one of them, even though all of these guys are in their 20s. They just adopted me in, and I'm just part of the crew. I just tootle around with them all over the place. Gotta give props to Gen Z. They're not like Gen X and the boomers. The Gen X and the boomers worked really hard to separate themselves from the previous generation. Like, you don't hang out with people we don't hang out with boomers if we can avoid it, and stuff like that. But Gen Z is like, yeah, we'll hang out with whoever. Like, they're good. I mean, there's a few people who are elitist-ish, but for the most part, everybody I've met in that generation is kind of like, yeah, sure. You want to hang out with us? You want to help us with the class? You want to do this stuff? We're going to go do this thing with video games. You want to join us? It's like they just assume that I'm one of them. Which is kind of cool because they really, it's just a different mentality that they've got. They assume we know the jokes, whereas we assumed that our parents had no clue. We've been making skibbity jokes all day today, which I only marginally understand. So,
Skibbity doo jokes?
Skibbity. It is apparently an animation thing that is really lousy animation, but has these human heads that are in toilets that spin. And so it's not horror per se. Like, it's not like they're disembodied heads. Or, I mean, they are disembodied heads, but they're not like beheaded disembodied heads. It's just the 3D model doesn't go below here, But apparently that's a big thing in this generation.
Oh! Oh, 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 oh,
Yeah, you
oh,
know
oh,
it.
oh, oh. Okay, this is. It's using the Half-Life model, so it's even better.
Yep.
But it's on the same level as the old butt sex animations, or what was another one that the engineer that came out and said nope.
Yep, that's it. You got it, and that's that kind of weird. But that's that's the humor, which he had the same weird humor too.
The funny part is that being a millennial is I can relate to Gen Z while going, oh my god, I'm about to date myself. Here we go.
Yeah, and that's millennials didn't really hang out with Gen X either.
We did, just not as much.
Yeah.
Like, we hung out more with Gen Z than we did with Gen X.
Agreed. Although you're hanging out with me, it's sort of a thing.
And I hang out with a lot of people that, Gen Z, I hang out with boomers. I'm very approachable. So I'm almost wondering if Gen Z got it from the very beginning from the millennials who are just like, you know what? You're kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is obviously it's like everything. There are going to be, not everybody is the same way. I feel like Gen X has also sort of been, we'll hang out with people. We don't care. We just won't hang out with boomers. I'm putting away my kilt from this weekend. My kilt, sadly, needs to be taken in because apparently I have lost enough weight now. My kilt doesn't fit. I ordered my kilt in March, and so I measured myself for my kilt in March, and since March I've lost like 15 pounds or something, and so it doesn't fit now. My kilt, it finally shows up, and it doesn't fit because I've lost a lot of weight since then. So, which is not a problem. It just means my kilt needs to be taken in. All right, I think I have rigged for class. Tomorrow. And my laptop is sitting downstairs on that. On the charger. 2410.10. I don't know what class is tomorrow. I feel like he's going to start making us do stuff.
That could be. Also, I cannot wait for this election season to finally be over.
Yeah, right. Me too. Hey, yap.
Hey, Yap!
I feel like
Thank
also
you.
like covering part of it. Didn't we figure out a way to make it so we weren't covering? No, because that didn't help us any. It's just I wish there was one where our portraits were below it instead of on top of it.
Yeah, you can really see how Inktober is affecting me.
Mm-hmm. You are definitely getting a different style.
I'm working on both the comic and Inktober is pushing not only a whole new inking style on me, but also a whole new way of looking at things. Like, I thought of a new way of using AI to help new artists out. And you're going to go, that's brilliant.
Okay, I'm into this.
Okay? Go into AI, generate a prompt, put in the word sketch, bring it into Clip Studio, turn it blue, put on a new layer, and ink it.
That is interesting.
And teach yourself to ink using AI randomly generated art.
Okay.
I mean, right now we're dealing with all of the ethics issues and everything like that. And I'm sitting here going, okay, yes, there are a lot of issues we need to bang out. But there's also a lot of tool usage that can be used and learning tool usages.
Yeah.
Because eventually we are going to figure this out one way or another. We have to.
Yep. Yeah, we will.
Unfortunately, we cannot hold our breath till we're blue in the face with art bros constantly coming at us and trying to make a fast buck.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I want to be wrong, though.
Yeah, I know.
And like the one guy who's currently suing over the copyright issues with his artwork,
Mm-hmm.
I'm laughing over.
Well, I mean that's the biggest problem. Like they're trying to get the music ones too, and if RIAA can't manage to pull it off, you know what I mean? Like that's my problem. Is like the recording industry has managed to do all kinds of great stuff over the years, and really screw people over. You know?
Well, the guy that won the art contest that kind of set this all off?
Uh-huh.
He's suing to try to get copyright to protect his artwork. And they've already said you don't have copyright protections. And he's now screaming, but they're using my art!
You're like, yeah, well. Okay, what's going on here?
And I'm sitting here going, go die in a fire. Yes.
Yeah. All right, OneNote. Come back to me. There we go.
I like that image. That image turned out nice.
Yeah, I like it. Why am I not getting control over the... Whatever's going on, stop doing it. Man, I need to... Boy, I am pissing off OneNote, serious. Which, I mean, I appreciate it, but I understand that I am taxing the system a little bit here. Oh, we're going to talk about probing.
Oh no! Not the probing questions.
The funniest part is when my professor put this up there, he put a little gray alien up there too. And I was like, yeah, this is why I get along with this particular professor. I keep threatening all my friends that I'm going to be doing all these things with them, and then I don't. I'm like, I'm gonna use you as a guinea pig for practicing this stuff, and then I don't.
Until one day you do.
Right?
And it just drops on them like a ton of bricks.
So tell me a little bit about your life there. And I'll just start by going, uh-huh, uh-huh, oh, uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. See? Practicing now. Think I'm doing a good job? Just saying. Hmm. Hmm. I'll be done reading this in a few minutes, and then I think I'll be done for the night.
That's fine. I'll be done for tonight too here in a little bit. As soon as you're done there, I'll probably be done here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that I'm taking a picture of a place from a comic and went, what if I have a character standing there? What would the background look like?
Mm-hmm. 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 Dr. Rosenthal and Dr. Jacobson conducted an experiment in 1966 where they told certain teachers and children that they were being tested as spurters. These are kids who jump ahead and make significant leaps in academic scores. And sure enough, those children did in fact improve, which was really interesting because they were picked at random. So the kids that they picked were very specifically picked at complete random. And all of the kids that were picked jumped ahead.
It sounds like a placebo effect.
Yep, they call it the expectancy effect. The tendency of experimenters to obtain results that they expect, not simply because they have correctly anticipated the nature's response, but because they've helped shape the response through their expectations. Interesting. I'm just going through and finding all these like links to stuff, and I love the what are they called? Matrushka dolls, the Russian dolls where they're all inside one another. It's like I'm reading this article here and it's talking about confirmation bias in studies, and therefore naturally what did these guys do? They ran studies on their studies, and then ran studies on their interviewers, then ran studies on themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just loving the way that this is like
The nesting doll effects.
right. It's like totally like these nesting dolls. It's like, hey, wait a minute. I think we're being biased. Quick, everybody run an analysis on us. Like, these guys are such scientists. Oh my god. And you're like, we're being biased, so we should probably do something. That noise, by the way, is me screen capping the snot out of everything and pasting it in my OneNote, so that tomorrow, whenever I'm in class, I'm like, I need to pull all these things up. Dr. Hadaway went to a large Protestant church and found 115 people in attendance at the Sunday school. On Monday morning, when Hadaway polled the whole church membership, 181 people had claimed to have been in Sunday school the previous day.
How can you tell if you're losing your mind, Ken? Well, you start making an unreasonable background.
And you've got a few more pages, so you can go. Like, before I'm done, so. Like, I got a couple more pages of reading to go through. Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Just talking about threatening questions and undesirable behavior. Like like they were saying that these two researchers asked 1,900 Muslim women, single women, between the ages of 15 and 24, if they'd ever been pregnant. 3% of them said they had, but 25% of them said that at least one of their three closest friends had been. Which means some of them were not telling the truth. It's not just the people being interviewed, but it's the interviewers too, huh? Talking about oddly underreporting things. It says this basic finding shows up in what you might think were the most unlikely places. Even when people reporting, even when people are reporting on the children they have. 1961 census of Ethiopia, 23% of the women underreported the number of children.
Huh. And then you have to go, why?
Apparently, they don't count babies who die before reaching the age of 2. And you didn't catch that until later. And so, and of course, we're talking about Ethiopia in the 60s. Definitely were people dying there.
Yeah.
China had a whole problem because of their one-child policy with reporting in general. What? Did not do as good as I wanted on that quiz. It's aggravating. However, when he asks me why, because he gave us all the answers in the last class, so it's going to be one of those, okay, I gave you all the answers. How did you still miss 2 out of 12? Right? So he's going to be like, there are only 12 questions. I gave you all the answers and you still missed 2. It's because he did not, in fact, inform us that the questions were shuffled. So all I did was put the answers down. And one of them was true and the other one was false. And I have clearly confused the 2. That's all right. I'm still getting an A in the class. I'm just getting a 97% instead of a 100%. It makes me go, meh. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like it's horrible.
And then what happened? I had to make a freaking circle, and everything turned out looking like a 4-year-old had done it.
Oh, I'm done.
I'm just about done.
All of the things that I have. Good God. I have all of these, like, things that I snagged and stuff like that. And just a wall of text. It's very entertaining. All right. OneNote saved everything, so we are done.
Cool. I'm just about done here with this. So if you want to hang out just a couple more minutes.
Yeah, I will. Actually, what I will do is while you're doing that, I will do my nightly stretches that I now do. Because this works, I'm loosening up my back and stuff. It's always nice to have. Actually, I'm horribly curious about something.
Nope. Don't take that one. Okay.
I just asked ChatGPT if it would give me a ballad of the Battle of Wolf 359 because I'm horribly curious. Oh, it actually didn't do bad. Oh, hey,
Okay, that turned out pretty freaking cool.
it did. I like that piece.
Yeah, I literally. So I grabbed uh, a background from Cerebus, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the Regency Garden for that. And I went, what if I have a character standing here, and instead of showing the entire Regency, what would the background look at eye level going backward? And you get a very interesting scale.
Right.
That was a fun exercise. I like that.
I like that exercise. It was a good exercise. I agree.
Okay, well, I'm going to call it here.
I'm going to call it as well. Oh, I'm going to go away, and you're going to go away. We're going to go to bed. Thanks for joining me tonight,
Yes.
though. And thanks for joining us, all of you out there, Yap and just Snooter and Brent. We'll see you all on the flip side. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Good night.
Bye.